You just like suddenly dropped that you were never going back to Western medicine again. And when she said that, I just thought she meant like till birth. And then slowly through the months, we learned that she meant no, like never. Yeah, there's also a lot of shit that goes wrong when you're under doctor's care.
I could tell a lot of my friends and family. That's what they say is if you're going to have a home birth, just don't tell your friends and family because they're going to be the ones that talk you out of it. I would just say women have been giving birth for longer than anyone has done anything in the entire history of the world.
Hey team, welcome back to another episode of The Wellness Effect. And today it is just me and my one and only big sister, Kira. The woman, the myth, the legend. Everybody!
Wow, thank you so much for having me, Lacey. Oh my God.
You know what? Anytime my sister wants, she gets. So we're missing Jensen again, but that's okay. So we don't need her. Just kidding. We do. Please come back. But I'm excited because we're taking you guys back to the beginning on this episode, and Kira is going to share kind of her journey and what got her to sitting in this chair recording the podcast episode with us, because as always, it has been a journey from start to finish. And we all told our stories right when we started this podcast, but I just feel like the more you learn and the longer you keep going on your healing journey, you kind of always look back and see things in like a different light or a different way. And we just thought we were due for another episode where we get to talk all about us. So let's just get into it, Kira. So how old are you?
Me, I'm roughly 36 or 37. I don't remember. I'll be 37 in December. Hashtag relatable, right? And I thought it would be cool to just go back because I do talk a lot about fertility and that's my journey and whatever was my journey. But I think it's interesting to go back to childhood because that's where it kind of all, it's funny, it like begins there. And then we also like have to go back there when we're on these, walking these paths. I mean, I think everyone who's an eldest daughter knows like it's just such a relatable, like I follow those Instagram accounts. They're like eldest daughter core. And it literally is something that you just feel you're like, oh my God, this is so, it's the most relatable.
Kira's the oldest. If you guys didn't know, I feel like a lot of people think I'm the oldest because I'm so mature, but Kira's the oldest, I'm the middle, and then we have our younger sister, Marina, and we were all 2 grades apart, but I'm a year and a half younger than Kira, and then I'm like 2.5 years older than Marina.
Yeah. So I always say I basically became a mom the day Lacey was born.
May 11th. It's actually funny that we're talking about this because literally last night I was talking about our childhoods and I was like, it's just so funny hearing Kira. I'm like, she has such a different perception of childhood compared to like me and my sister. And I was like, and I've just met so many oldest children over the years. And I was like, and they all have that exact same experience. So it's just so funny how that's the case. And even thinking about now, you with Ellie, like how that's going to show up. But yeah, Kira's born first. She won.
I know I do think about it a lot with her. I'll be like, Ellie, can you just grab me, like, go play with Jake? He's crying. And then I'm like, no, like, I need to, like, I'm the mom. I play with Jake when he cries. But she's like, I just love helping you, Mom. I just love talking to Jake. And I'm like, fuck. Oh, God. Okay. And I think it's a little different now. And even like having that awareness, our parents did not have this information. They did not have the time. Like, they were working. So it just like was what it was. And nobody knew what it would create and who these eldest children would become. But it's funny. I was thinking about it this morning. I was writing down because often it's like eldest daughter. I'm like, check. People pleaser. Check, check, check. Type A personality. Check. Perfectionist. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know that I got that one. Like in some ways I definitely did. I think it's more like what people think of me. I'm very sensitive to and trying to be perfect, which in and of itself probably pushes people away more than, that's a whole fucking rabbit hole we could go down. But I just did not get that. Like a lot of the time I listen to people, they're like, I got straight A's in school and I was in every sport and I was this all-star athlete. And I'm like, fuck, man, I was like doing my best. Like I did well in school, but I did not try at all. I put no effort into it. I was like, oh, this is something that I can like skate by in and not do any homework and like still get B's and just get by on personnel.
Yeah. Which I feel like was kind of the case for all 3 of us, which is funny to look back on. None of us were the academic queens, but I'm like, that's what happens when you all have ADHD too.
Well, and it's so funny to think of, like, how frustrating that must have been for dad because he was very, like he wasn't academic, but I think he really wanted us to be, so he, like, tried everything, like, he was bribing us and paying us for, like, A's, and, like, I don't think I brought homework home one time.
No. And that was, I feel like, also his role. Like, mom was kind of like, you have to own the kids' grades in school, and I'll do everything else. I actually never thought about it like that. I kind of just thought he was like acting like he cared. So that's even funny, the difference of what you thought.
Yeah, but I wonder if he was just like, "Imagine if they tried." Like, for crying out loud. We did okay, we ended up doing okay. But I think for me, like, where the healing piece of it all, I remember and I wasn't ever diagnosed or anything, but I think looking back now and reflecting and learning about anxiety and just nervous system dysregulation and what I know now, I think I was, like, really wrestling with that. So even, like, I sucked my thumb until I was, like, 12 years old, which is such a comfort thing, such a nervous system hack. I've literally been doing nervous system hacks since before they were cool. But I remember thinking also that I had a superpower because at night, every single night, I would lay down to go to bed and my heart rate would just like I would feel my heart pounding in my chest because I was like, I don't know. I don't know what I was worried about. Sometimes it was like the house was gonna catch on fire or if a burglar came into the house or like whatever it was. I was like, okay, I gotta run across the room hall and grab Lacey, and then Marina's in this room and I gotta get him out the window and like kill the burglar. And, like, I thought I had a magic superpower because I could breathe deep and my heart rate would go down.
Oh my God, that's such a weird memory that you have.
I know, like, I was like, "I'm magic, I can change my heart rate." And I thought that for so long. Like, I'm talking, like, into my 20s. Like, I don't think everybody can do that. Like, just take a deep breath and their heart rate slows down.
Well, I don't think many 7-year-olds were doing that.
No, but even just, like, to put those 2 things together and, like, it also makes me really sad because it means I probably tried, like, other stuff. Like, I knew that my heart rate was, like, an uncomfortable feeling, and I probably tried other things that, like, didn't work, and then I was like, "Oh, it's just so cute," and just like, "Oh,
It is, it's crazy.
poor little girl," but oh, I was thinking about this too, that I was, like, a really late bloomer. I didn't get my period till, like, grade 9 or maybe even grade 10, which is, like, pretty late, I think. I don't know how old you were. You probably got it the same time as me.
14/15. You were also born in December, so that could play a role in it. Because I got mine at 14.
Okay. But I remember my friends having their period and me being like, "Oh, can I borrow a tampon?" And I would, like, take it from them and, like, put it in the garbage because I didn't have my period yet. But, like, everybody did, so I just pretended that I
That's
did.
like what I did with drinking. "Can I have a drink?" Dump it out.
Yeah, opposite. We'll get into that. But I basically started birth control, hormonal birth control, as soon as I got my period because I had a boyfriend in high school. We'd already been together since I was in grade 8, so my parents were probably just like, "Oh my god."
So you went on the birth control pill right as soon as you got your period too? Did you even have one natural cycle?
I don't remember. I think maybe as soon as I got it, my mom was like, "You need to be on."
Yeah, because that was the same with me, but I don't feel like you've ever told that story.
Yeah. God, is it a story to tell?
I feel like that's such like a core part of my story that I'm like, I got put on birth control. I didn't even have my cycle once. So how long were you on birth control?
Well, I think since the time I was like 15 or 16 until basically I met Brett, and I was like, well, we'll get to that actually. Birth control 15 or 16, and when I look at like my high school, it was a lot of and I was talking in a reel that I posted today about allowing your children to see you like feel dysregulated. And then what do we do about that in this house? Do we go for a walk? Do we have a snack? It's so funny because like last night we were laying in bed and I had a little bit of a grumpy afternoon yesterday. And Ellie's like, we really had a good day. I'm like, we did. She's like, well, except for that one time, but I think we both just needed a snack. I was like, yes, I'm doing it. So it's like showing your kids that dysregulation because I think, like, it can feel scary. It can feel like, "Oh my god, are they gonna see this and they think this is life?" But you have to, like, remember to show them, like, the whole journey. Like, "Oh, I feel dysregulated. I notice it. What do I do?" Because we don't want them ending up being binge drinkers from the time they're 15 to the time they're 35 like me. But, like, really bad acne in high school, so I remember going to the doctor and getting this weird cream. I wish I could know what it was now, but it was just basically I, like, put it on my forehead every night, if anyone knows what this is, and it was like a clear gel that, like, went hard. So, like, when I would wake up in the morning, like, I couldn't maybe that's why I don't have wrinkles now. No, that was only for a couple years. But, like, I couldn't move my head at night, like, my forehead would just be, like it was like putting glue on your head, and then it would dry and be, like, hard. So, dealt with that. That was, like we never really got to the root cause. I'm guessing it was just, like, hormones, and then I went on birth control, and they really, like, exacerbated it all. But that's kinda where, like, the binge drinking really starts, which I'm guessing is my next tool for coping with that, like, anxious feeling. So, first I sucked my thumb, then I took deep breaths, and then I started doing Jaeger bombs.
Good old taste of alcohol, and you're like, "This is a trick."
Yeah, this is a vibe. So that was kind of like my life and my personality, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I see a lot of my Facebook memories come up, and it's just like, "Did you say Saturday? I thought you said, like" I don't know, like, all the memes I used to
Let's
post.
get slammered Sunday.
Yes. Sunday fun day, like, it was such a big part of my personality. It's actually crazy to look back on now and, like, even think about. It's just wild. So, yeah, just wrote down on my thing, binge drinking, late nights, shitty jobs, shitty boyfriends. I just did that for a good solid 10 years or more. Yeah, 10 years about. And then I met Brett and we kinda started dating. We kind of met and, like, fell in love in that, like, party scene, which is actually hilarious and, like, such an interesting thing to go through with your partner is, like, watching them navigate, like, wellness after like, even all of his friends were just like, "Kira, are you having a beer?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, like, you've seen me do such crazy shit when I was drunk and, like, this wellness girl on the internet, like, oh my god." It's so crazy, but I can't remember. I wish I could have found, like, one of the emails, but you did a challenge with Iskra Elite in 2018 or 2019 or maybe 2017 even.
It was probably 2019 because I didn't even start till 2019.
Okay. And it was, like, one of your first ones. I got the original meal plan and, like, we did a check-in. I think it was for 6 weeks. And a big part it was, like, when Lacey first started, it was, like, mindset was a huge part of the program. And I think the challenge was to, like, create your own morning routine. And everyone got a meal plan, and it was, like, the first time in my life that I ate enough food, didn't drink alcohol for 6 weeks. Like, I could not remember the last time I went 6 weeks without drinking, and I was like, "I'm not gonna be able to do this, like, holy shit." And I started creating a morning routine. I literally did those 3 things, and it, like, actually completely changed my whole entire life, which is crazy to think about.
I think she just said that the challenge that I created that she did changed her life. Can we get that on the record? No, but that's actually so cool, and I remember too that it was, like, one of your goals to be, like, a transformation, and I always tell that story too because we always kinda get in our head as coaches that we, like, don't wanna ask our clients if we can share their transformation, and we don't want it to ever seem like a almost like we're using them, I guess, for marketing, like, which is not. But that always just, like, helped me overcome it. I was like, "No, clients love that, and it's so cool," and so, yeah, I do remember that. And also, it probably helped you're like, "Oh, I don't have anxiety either, and I'm not binge drinking."
That was the first time I ever didn't have anxiety in my life. Oh my god. But it was just, like, the first time I realized that, like, I had it was almost like more magical powers to, like, control that and even, like, my body and how it felt and how it looked. Like, I always was, like, "thin," quote, unquote, but never really loved my body. I didn't feel strong. I didn't feel, like, great in a bathing suit for most of my life, and it was, like, to, like, put that on and actually be like, "Oh my god, like, this looks good." Like, I look good and I wanna, like, people to see it. It was really the first time that I, like, had that feeling. And I didn't lose any weight, which is crazy. I remember I gained weight and I was like, "What?" Like, that explodes your mind. And I ate more than I'd ever eaten in my life, and I was just like, "What is this bitch doing?" And then I was like, "Cha-ching, I gotta get on this train." No, I'm kidding.
And here we are.
And here we are, but I can't even explain how that shifted things for me. So I think it's just cool to, like, hear and know that, like I don't know. I don't know where I was gonna go with that. Anyway,
What year was Ellie born?
2021.
2021. Okay, so that must have been before you got pregnant with Ellie.
'Cause I kinda wrote it down because, like, me and Brett met in 2017, the challenge was, like, 2018, 2019, and then I was on the I went off hormonal birth control because I started this is what kind of put me into, like, the wellness space or whatever, and I was like, "I think I don't wanna be on hormonal birth control." I feel like that's, like, step 1 of the ladder when you, like, get into, like, anything health as a woman, it's like, first step is, like, you find out about hormonal birth control and you're like, "What the fuck? I was on it for 20 years." Like, shit. So then I went to the copper IUD, which knowing what I know now, it's almost worse to switch over to the copper IUD because being on hormonal birth control, synthetic estrogen, you are sort of elevating that stored copper in your body, which can be very detrimental. And then to then go into the copper IUD and like have a physical form of copper now, like pushing onto your body. I'm honestly like shocked that I got pregnant with Ellie, but it's making so much more sense for her like mineral levels now. I basically like dump all your excess copper in your first pregnancy. So it's just like, oopsie, sorry, Ellie, there you go. Which is a whole other topic too that we'll have to probably record an episode once I'm like figuring this all out. But we call pregnancy the great detox, right? So you kind of dump everything onto your kids. But yeah, okay. So went on to the copper IUD and I was just like, I like this guy. Like I'm ready to start having babies soon. So I'm going to go on like non-hormonal birth control so that when we're ready, I can just like take this IUD out and like get pregnant right away. So that was in like 2019, early 2020. And then, yeah, we kind of talked about it. I think I got it removed in like August of 2020. So September, we were like officially starting to try. And it took 4 months, which was like so scary at the time. And looking back now, I'm just like, and that was like 6 years ago, which is crazy to think about. Like, I gotta give myself a moment there. But yeah, I like got the IUD out and I was like, "Oh, we're just gonna like have sex and get pregnant," because I at that point didn't know no one I knew was talking about infertility or even like pregnancy loss. It wasn't like Instagram wasn't what it is today where like everyone is just sharing their stories like so deeply like we are now. And so I was just like, I'm just gonna like try to get pregnant and get pregnant. And so when it didn't happen right away, it was like weird and scary. And but I was already in like the health and wellness space and doing my holistic nutrition and working for you a little bit. So I just kept going and kept trying. And then eventually we got pregnant with Ellie.
How long was that? I don't even really remember that.
September, October, November, December, January. So it took us 5 cycles. Yeah. But like, I mean, I'd only known Marina who literally just like sneezed and got pregnant.
That's our little sister. She was made for make it babies, we'll say that.
Yeah, that kind of planted a little seed of fear in me, but nothing like whatever. Cause yeah, I eventually got pregnant. Everything was good. My pregnancy, however, was absolutely horrific. This episode of The Wellness Effect is brought to you by Lifestyle You. If you're listening to this podcast and thinking, okay, this sounds like me, whether it's low energy, hormone imbalances, stubborn symptoms, or you just feel like you've tried everything, Lifestyle You is our root cause coaching program designed to help you actually connect the dots.
We use functional nutrition, personalized support, and functional lab testing to figure out why your body is doing what it's doing, instead of just guessing or slapping a band-aid on symptoms.
And because you're a listener of The Wellness Effect, when you use the code Wellness Effect, you'll receive a free functional lab when you join the program. If this episode is resonating with you, make sure to share it with a friend, subscribe to the podcast, and check out the show notes to learn more about Lifestyle You and how to apply.
And this is something we've been talking about in our Lifestyle You, like our coaching group chat, is like the difference between my pregnancy with Ellie and my pregnancy with Jake is like night and day. And I think everyone talks about how your pregnancies get worse and worse. Like as you have more kids and you get more depleted, every pregnancy is like harder and harder. And I was like, holy fuck, like how am I ever going to have another pregnancy? Because that was so bad. I was so sick. I think I lost 8 pounds in the first trimester, which is like pretty sketchy. And then I gained that 8 pounds back in the second trimester. And then I gained 5 pounds in the last trimester. Like I could not keep food down, which knowing what I know now, a lot of that is tied to my mineral status, the copper, the hormonal birth control. Like it's all of it. I did no replenishment. You're depleted of so many essential nutrients and minerals from birth control. And to just not ever replenish any of those before going into having children is like a girl messaged me the other day and she's like, I just wish I found you guys sooner. Like, I'm already trying to conceive. And I'm like, look at me. My daughter's 4. And I'm just kind of now putting all the puzzle pieces together of like, oh, fuck, she has nothing left because I didn't take this time before getting pregnant. Thankfully, it's never too late. I don't want anyone to get scared by that. Like, you can support your kids, you can support yourself while you're pregnant, before you get pregnant. Like, whenever you want to do it, you can do it. But it would be a lot easier to do it before you have your kids.
Yeah, it's never ever too late. And I think too, we even not almost like dance around the subject, but it's like hard to talk about that because people are very quick to blame themselves, or even there's just like a lot of shame around. You don't even want to admit the possibility that perhaps your child is depleted because you didn't do like the preconception work. But one, not all of us have that choice, right? Sometimes we get pregnant and it's not planned, which is totally fine. And also, you just always have to remind yourself, like, you're doing the best that you can with the information that you have. And now that you have more information, it's like, it's okay to, like, no one was perfect. You know what I mean? And so I just think it's okay, but like trying to pretend that there's no way that's possible and blah, 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 that's not going to like serve you or your future children either.
Yes, and it's even like I said to one of the coaches yesterday, I'm just like, I don't like posting stuff like that because people get so triggered and so annoyed and like they'd rather just band-aid solution their kids with whatever it is, whether they're getting chronic ear infections or eczema or they can't poop. They would rather band-aid that symptom than like do the deep dive on themselves and their children and like what actually happened here. And I think that's kind of part of the reason that I'm like sharing Ellie's results slowly because people think that we know what the fuck, like I did not have it all together when I had her, but I've been doing a lot of work since then, but it wasn't enough. Like you have to intentionally do it at some point in your life. And if it's before you have kids, maybe you don't have to do it as intentionally for your kids. But if it's after you have kids, you might have to take some time and do it.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, my pregnancy with her was just like so hellish. I don't know. It didn't like feel good. There was also a lot going on like in my personal life and I like wasn't sharing, like I wasn't like proud of being pregnant and like happy. I was like, I don't know, it was just a really weird ass time in my life. And so it just sucked, honestly, that pregnancy. And then I just like hate to think about it and talk about it because I've put like so much work into like healing it, but it's still like such a open wound. It's like actually crazy when I talk about like her birth story. I'm like so mad at myself for like how it played out. But anywho, have I told that story on here?
I don't know. Do you want to? Maybe a quick, well, I don't know if a quick version kind of just takes away from it, but my friend that I told you about that got pregnant, she wants to know. She's like, I wonder, what was Kira's birth story like with Ellie?
Okay. Yeah, I'll give like a short-ish, probably long version of it. But I was like starting to dip my toes into like health and wellness and like holistic, crunchy mom stuff. And I was like, oh, like a home birth would be so cool. And I tried to get a doula. And like I talked about on my birth story with Jake, we don't have midwives in Lloydminster. So you'd have to like travel to a birth center like 2 hours away if you didn't want to have a hospital birth. And I didn't want to do that. And the midwife or the doula that we met with was like, she was like a level 100 crunchy doula. And I was just like, I'm not ready for this. Like, no. And the experience just wasn't great with her. So we didn't end up I just kind of had all these chances throughout my pregnancy with Ellie to like go that route. And I like turned away from it so many times. And then when my water broke, I don't think we really understand. Like I thought I did all this research on like every intervention that you might need when you go into labor. But of course, the one that happened to me was the one I knew nothing about and didn't even know was a possibility. So normally, or I guess what happens most of the time is you go into labor, you dilate for a while, you're having contractions, and at some point your water breaks. But my water both times broke. Like I had no signs of labor, no contractions, no nothing, and my water would break, which can be linked to low vitamin C, just throwing that out there, which is also linked to low progesterone, just throwing that out there. So my water broke, and then you go to the hospital, you go to your doctor, they swab you, you're like, yeah, this is amniotic fluid. And then basically they're monitoring you. And then when I had Ellie, the recommendation was if you're not having active contractions within 12 hours, you go on an antibiotic drip and you get Pitocin to like speed your labor up. And the thought behind it is that now the bag is open and the baby is exposed and there's like risk of infection for the mom and the baby if their baby's not born like soon enough. So the hospital basically said you can go home and chill, but you're coming back at like the 12-hour mark and we're putting you on antibiotic drip and we're putting you on Pitocin. And I was like, fuck, like, no, I do not want that. I knew I didn't want that. So I left and didn't go back for 18 hours instead of 12 hours. I also lied about when my water broke. I said it broke like 4 hours later than it actually did. So I was like working the system a little bit. And now I know that it's like closer to like some people wait 3 days, like their water breaks and like it's not a big deal. This isn't medical advice, obviously, but like that's kind of where my head is now is that it's like it's fine and your body will eventually do what it's supposed to do. So I get to the hospital, I'm like crying. I'm like, I do not want to be induced. I've done so much mindset work in this pregnancy to have a natural birth. I really fucking do not want an epidural. And like, I don't like, can we not? And they were just like, kind of at this point, like, shut up, girl. Why do you care? You're not getting a gold medal for not using the epidural. And I'm just like, whatever. So I said to Brett, no matter what happens, do not let me get the epidural. Don't ever say that. That's my first piece of advice. So I got induced. They started the Pitocin at 10:45 and they're like, everyone go to bed. So Brett kind of went to take a nap. I was trying to sleep and the contractions, they're supposed to start very slow. Like they put me on such a slight drip that it like if they or I would have been paying attention to how quickly my contractions progressed, we should have stopped it at that point. But everyone was just like, oh, like she's a first time mom. She's being basically over dramatic. There's no way they're already this intense. And I was just like, holy fuck. Like it just went from 0 to 100. So they're like, I'm like, and with first time deliveries, they're just like known. This is what hospitals and doctors say is that they take a lot longer. Often they're like 2 days or like a day and a half. So I was like, this feels like it's moving really fast. Like I don't, and they're like, no, like this is your first baby. Calm down. Like you got like 24 hours to go. We just started your Pitocin drip. Like we know what we're doing here. This hippie girl who like did a couple meditations in her pregnancy, like doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. So I was like, okay, like then the level of pain that I'm in right now, like I can't do that for like another day and a half. So if you're telling me this is how it's going to feel, I'm like, I think I need something. So they're like, we'll give you morphine. It'll take the edge right off and you can go to sleep. I get the morphine. Absolutely nothing happens. And I'm like, nothing's really happening. Like it didn't change how like I'm feeling like this is so intense. And they're like, no, like you're fine. Just go to sleep basically. So then I'm like, Brett, you need to get me the heating pad. You need to get in here. Like I'm fucking losing my marbles. This hurts so bad. And at that point, they're still telling me I'm not really in labor. So instead of like being in it, I was like fighting it because I'm like, I can't do this for another day and a half. Like a day and a half, like that's so long. That's so long. I remember just thinking like another day and a half, I'll die. And they weren't checking me. That's the other thing is typically like in the hospital, they're checking your cervix to see how dilated you are. And that's how they kind of know, quote unquote, I have thoughts on that, how far along you are. But when your water breaks early and your risk of infection is high, and I refuse the antibiotic drip, they don't want to check you because that's risking you for infection even more. So I was like, can you please just check me? Can you please just check? Like, I feel like the head is right there. And they're like, no, we're not checking you. I remember the one nurse looking at me and I was like, I think it's close. And she was like, that is not your story. Let it go. And I was like, okay, that's not my story. Like, I'm not having a quick birth. I got a whole nother day and a half here. So I was like, I think I need the epidural. Like, I literally can't do this. And they were like, are you sure? Like, you said you didn't want the epidural. And I was like, I don't know. And then I started throwing up, which is that means you're in transition. Like if you read anything about birth, it's like when the mom starts puking, it's like your body is getting everything out of you that it can, including your baby. And it's literally you start to puke, you like shit everywhere, and then your baby comes out like basically right after that. So I was like, I think I need to get on the toilet. And I thought I had to poop. And then I was like, I'm going to puke. And I just kept puking and puking. And I'm like, isn't this transition? I'm at like a level 10 of pain. Like I think this is transition, which is basically when the cervix is open. So labor is like opening of your cervix, and then you transition from that first part of labor to like pushing. And that transition is often the most intense part of childbirth is like that moving sides or whatever. So you read a ton about it when you're like reading about giving birth. And I was like, I think this is transition. And they're like, no, 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 it's not transition. And then I said, I think I need the epidural then because like this is fucking wild. I can't do this for another day and a half. And I was like, can you please just check me once? Like before I get the epidural, I said, I do not want to get the epidural. And then you guys tell me that I was like 8 centimeters dilated and like I'm going to be giving birth in the next hour or 2 hours because I can do this for a couple more hours. They're like, we're not checking you. Like, again, you're going to be here for another day and a half. And I was like, okay, like, I guess we'll get the epidural. And I was just crying. I was so sad. They bring it in. They put the epidural in my back. I remember it was like 3:45 or something like that. Immediately, all the stats that they're tracking on me and Ellie all tank. They flip me over and she's crowning. Her head is right there. They're like, "Oh, you're going to be pushing in 10 seconds." I was like, "What?" So not only was I not 8 centimeters dilated, I was not 10, I was not 9, I was not 10. I had transitioned and she was fully crowning. And they didn't check me. I was completely right. Every instinct I had was right. I literally would have like had her in another hour if I would have just waited. So because I was so drugged, I was on now morphine and the epidural. So that's way too much drugs for a baby when they're at that point in the birth canal. I don't really understand that point. Like it's okay to do the epidural when they're still higher up and in more for some reason. So they say, whatever. So she was like fully unresponsive and my body was not ready to push her out yet because it just wasn't like it was like cement. I always say it was like a Chinese finger trap, like, when you both put your finger in one end. So I had to have the vacuum and he was like trying to pull her out and she was like going back in. Like that's how it felt. And then I think the doctor was like, "You have like 5 pushes." And I was like, "And then what?" And he was like, "Just get this baby out." And I was like, "Okay, what does that mean?" So I'm guessing it meant I would have probably had a C-section if she didn't come out. So they put the vacuum on her, and Brett said he had his leg up on the table and like his arm looked like it was going to explode. He was pulling so hard on the tool. It was like sucking Ellie out of me. And I was like pushing with all my might, like screaming, pushing, pushing, pushing. And she came out. She was blue. She wasn't breathing. She wasn't moving. She didn't cry. They cut the umbilical cord and just like raced her over to the like little resuscitation place. And like this part's weird because I have certain memories, but I don't remember a lot of it. I just know that my legs were like so violently shaking and I was just going, like I was like laughing, but not laughing. It was so weird. And there was like someone counting down, or this was like in my head. I don't even know, but I just remember being like 1 minute and waiting for her to cry, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And then, like, somewhere between 3 and 4 minutes, they brought her back to life and then brought her over to us. And I was just like, what the fuck just happened? Like, what the fuck just happened? And, like, to experience that and then not have anyone be like, oh shit, you were right. And you knew exactly what was going on there. Like, sorry about that. To just have everyone just be like, we got your baby out. Aren't you grateful that you're here and grateful that we saved you and your baby's life? I'm just like, what the fuck just happened? So, if you wondered why I had a home birth with Jake by myself, that is why.
Literally, it's fucking crazy. And it just makes me think because obviously then you're kind of just getting into everything now. But can you imagine if any one of us had that experience with the knowledge that we have now and like the subtle hate that we have for Western medicine? Like, I would have tore the fucking roof off of that place after. Like, I can feel my anger in my body right now. But it's like, then, I don't know if you were made at that point too, you're just, I'm fucking done. Get me out of here. Like, you maybe didn't even, and you probably also don't have the energy because now you're all banged up on the fucking episode.
Well, I fully was in shock and then I was just in love with her. So it took me a very long time to like actually reflect on that and be like, no, that was fucked up. And then at my 6-week appointment, he was like, how are you doing? Like, what's going on with everything? Because you have to go at 6 weeks and basically get checked if you're allowed to like have sex again, which like, thanks. This is just such a useful use of my time. But he like was going through my little checklist. He's like, yeah, this was this, like whatever APGAR score. And he goes, 1, which is, I don't remember what it all stands for, but it's their color, their respiration. They're like, if they like can hold their limbs up. And she had none of it. Like she was like fucking basically dead when she was born, which is so crazy. I was like, yeah, I got a little crazy there. He's like, what are you talking about? No, it didn't. And I was like, what? It's like, yeah, everything looked really normal in like the notes that I have on your birth. And I was just like, what the fuck is happening right now? I think that was when I like really realized, oh, they're never gonna like admit that was like a little crazy, cray cray. Like it was so fun.
It's a little cray, a little hairy.
But yeah, then my postpartum was really tough. Then I got the COVID vaccine.
You just got 1 round of the COVID vaccine, right?
No.
Oh, I feel like we've actually never talked about that subject on this podcast, which is funny, but also not funny because it was such a crazy time for the collective.
And, like, everyone has their, like, thoughts on it, but I think no matter what, it was, like, very terrifying. It's like if you didn't want the vaccine and you were getting it, that was scary. If you believed in the vaccine and your friends and family weren't getting it, like, that was really probably scary to those people personally. And I remember I was holding Ellie in the carrier and, like, they gave me the needle and I was just bawling in the pharmacy and everyone was like, "What is your problem?" I'm like, "I don't wanna be getting this. This just feels so wrong to me for so many reasons," and I just did it, and then I never even ended up going on the trip that I wanted to go on that I got the fucking vaccine for, so lesson learned. But yeah, I basically wanted 2 under 2, so I was like, "We're starting to try again in August," and I, like, wanna be announcing that we're pregnant again at Ellie's first birthday.
Oh my god, that's crazy. I didn't realize that. That's nuts. I could not imagine wanting that soon.
And that's, like, me now. I'm like, "That's in 2 months." Like, starting to try to get pregnant again. I'm like, "That's fucked." Oh my god, that's so crazy. So,
Little did you know.
here I am 5 years later, guys.
With her newborn. Yay. Well, he's not really a newborn anymore.
No, and then I think, yeah, that kinda started the whole fertility journey, was that I did end up having an ectopic pregnancy.
Because it was ectopic first, right? Or did you have a miscarriage before your ectopic?
No, my ectopic was first. So and at the time, it's like I had the ectopic and I was just like, "Ooh, that was, like, weird." It was, like, I don't wanna say, like, a novel experience, but again, didn't know anyone that had ever like, you hear about miscarriages, but until you have an ectopic pregnancy and it's so weird because 'cause I'd never heard about it, and all of a sudden, when I got pregnant after Ellie, I became obsessed with ectopic pregnancies, and I was Googling them constantly, and then I was like, "I think I'm having one," and I literally was. I didn't even know what it was. It was so weird. But that was, like, another moment where doctors really, like, fucked up with me and, like, my journey. This story is just becoming, like, doctors that
Yeah, but this is great. Let's keep it going.
the reason that I thought I was having an ectopic, I was having pain on the right side, and, like, my bleeding was quite constant, but it was brown, so that's, like, old blood. Like, the miscarriages that I've had have been, like, very red, very, like, whatever, period-like blood, and this was just, like, brown and kinda constant, and I was like, "Okay." And unfortunately, when you Google anything or look up any information, it's like, this is either a totally normal sign of early pregnancy or you're having a miscarriage, and you're just like, "Okay, great." So I go to the doctor, to the ER, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm, like, 6 weeks pregnant. My bleeding isn't stopping, and now it's kinda picking up, and I have pain in my right side. I think I'm having an ectopic pregnancy." So they're like, "Okay, basically all we can do is test your levels and send you home." So they test my levels, they send me home. I go back again the next day because they test your levels again and see if that hormone, the HCG, is going down or going up. And mine was going down. So that like confirms that the baby's not growing either way. So now they just need to confirm if it's like in my tube or in my ovaries. It's just so shitty. Like you go in, you get all these tests, a bunch of ultrasounds, and then you have to get like a intravaginal ultrasound, and, like, she's over on the left side, she's just taking all these pictures of my tubes, and then it's like, "Good, quick, quick, quick." It's like, photo, 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 and then she gets over to the other side, and it's like her breathing changes. She's taking, like, 3 times more photos on that side, and I'm just like, "Oh, what does this mean?" Oh, and this is, like, when Brett had gout in his foot.
Oh no.
I always forget to tell this story because, like, I went back the next day to the ER, and he can't fucking walk. Like, if you've ever had or your fucking husband has ever had gout, it's, like, so bad and painful. It's like, "Well, you better just come to the ER with me, like, you need to get your foot looked at." So he's, like, getting blood work done and getting his foot looked at, and he doesn't even know yet at this point that I'm, like, confirmed losing the pregnancy and just waiting to know if it's an ectopic. And so the doctor just, like, comes strutting into the room. He's like, "So you're having an ectopic pregnancy." Like, literally said it like it was a celebration or a party, like he fucking won the lottery because he figured out what it was, and I was just like, "Okay, so what does that mean?" He's like, "You're probably getting surgery today. I'll send the OB in," and I was like, "Surgery?" Like, I've never had surgery before. I'm terrified of it for some reason. So I'm texting my sister-in-law, who is an ultrasound tech. And she's like, "You shouldn't need surgery. There should be, like, a medication they can start you with." And I was like, "Okay." And I'm texting Brett because he's, like, in 3 rooms over. I'm like, "Can you come down here, please? Like, I need help. It's like all these male doctors yelling at me basically that they fucking get a gold star for figuring out that I'm having an ectopic pregnancy. And then the surgeon comes in, and at this point, Brett was with me. And he's like, so yeah, we're just gonna like get you into your gown and we'll take you into the OR. And I was like, I'm getting surgery? He's like, well, yeah, you have an ectopic pregnancy. And I was like, isn't there a medication that you can try before you do the surgery? Like, you lose a whole entire tube if you have to get it. Your tube gets taken out, like that's interfering with so much shit that I don't want to be messing with. I'd love to keep my tube if I could and like not get surgery. He's like, well, we don't know if you qualify for the medication. And I'm like, well, how do we know if I qualify? And he literally said, and I talked about this a lot, but I don't know if I put enough emphasis on this. He said, I would have to look at your file. And then I said, could you look at my file? And he was like, yeah. And then like left the room. He didn't even have my file. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Okay.
No, but that just literally goes to show how many people probably would not have said anything and just get the fucking surgery and have no idea, which then the hospital gets paid more money and the doctors get paid more money because they had a surgery. Like, it's just actually so fucking sad how so many people have no idea. And if you hadn't gotten obsessed with ectopic, or, well, no, if you didn't have a sister-in-law at your frickin'.
Well, then it was a fluke too, because she thought I was just having a miscarriage. She didn't realize it was an ectopic. So she's like, oh, you just should take a pill. And like they try that first. So she thought she was giving me advice for a miscarriage. So it was like even kind of wrong. But then, yeah, he comes in. He's like, okay, yeah, it turns out you do qualify for the medication. And I was like, okay, great. Thank you. And then what I found out later is there's actually 3 different routes you can take with an ectopic. There's surgical management, medication management, and then something called expectant management, where you just continue to get blood work. And if your levels just keep going down, you don't ever have to have any intervention. And the percentage rate that my levels were already dropping, like I could have done no medication.
How far along were you?
7 weeks, I think, like very early, but the medication is an immunosuppressant. And this all happened like shortly after I got the COVID vaccine. And I just feel like that was just way too much for my body at one time and like my immune system. And yeah, so I think that was just like really adding fuel to the fire of the whole fertility journey for me was this very intense immunosuppressive medication. And then literally no, like, this is another part of the story. I went to my 6-week appointment after that with my doctor. She's like, so how's your pregnancy going? I was like, not pregnant. I had an ectopic. She's like, oh my God, okay, okay." And she started giving me all the information on ectopic pregnancies. She like, "Did the hospital give you this? Did they give you this? Did they give you this? Did they give you this?" I was like, "No, no, 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 no." She's giving me all this information, but I had learned it all from like Facebook groups and like all this other, like literally other moms who had already had ectopic pregnancies. And I'm just like, this is such a fucking joke. I was so mad. Basically, the medication for ectopics depletes folic acid in your body. And that's what's needed to like develop the neural tube of the baby. So it's kind of like your body starts to absorb that baby basically. But you cannot start trying to conceive again for like 3 or 4 months until it fully flushes out of your system, or there's like very real risk of like very intense birth defects and things like that. And it's like no one even said anything. They just like sent me home. And I'm like, "Ugh, like what the fuck, honestly." So then that was that experience. But little me, I just kept right on trying. Just kept on trucking. Okay, so this is when I remember because Marina's birthday was my ectopic pregnancy, and then your birthday the following year was my miscarriage. Then I got really superstitious that, like, if I was pregnant on someone's birthday or I was due on someone's birthday, I was like so scared. I was just so fucked.
So you're screwed because we're like November, December, May, January, July as a family.
Yes, and that was when I had my longest term. I think I miscarried at like 12 or 13 weeks, which was horrific. And that was like a little more.
Because was that the one where you knew that it died, but you didn't, or you had to wait? Like, remember that one where it stopped growing, but you didn't know for sure if it was still alive or not? Because that one you were longer term too.
Yes, so my 6-week ultrasound, they're like, "We can't see the heartbeat yet, but that's totally normal at 6 weeks. We'll do an 8-week for you just because of your ectopic history and whatever." So I come back at 8 weeks and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, heartbeat, like, you kinda have to wait." They're like, "You can go get a surgery and get it sucked out, or you can, like, I'm like, "Okay, I'll just be waiting at home, thank you." But it took 4 weeks, so I remember I had to, like, be pregnant for 4 weeks and then, like, oh, that was so weird. And then, yeah, I had that miscarriage at 12 weeks, but I guess technically the baby was, like, 8 weeks. Or I guess we don't really know when. And that one was really hard and sad. Like, the ectopic was, like, weird and, like, different. Like, I'd never heard of it before, and it felt more like a fluke, but this was, like, I saw the little baby in there, like, when I had my miscarriage, and it just felt so much more intense and real and, like, "Okay, now is this a problem for me? Like, is this a thing now?" So that one was, like, a lot more intense. So, yeah, then we just started trying again right away after that miscarriage, and it took 8 months for me to get pregnant that time. And then that pregnancy I lost at, like, very soon, like 7 weeks or something like that. And then January of 2025, I had a chemical pregnancy, and then February, I got pregnant with Jake.
Okay, so you never really took a break and, like, did all your healing. You just kinda did all your healing simultaneously as you were trying?
I mean, okay, if I'm being honest, I was, like, doing all the things, but, like, just very intensely taking pregnancy tests and ovulating and ovulation tests so that I would, like, stop all my big detox in between ovulation.
Because that one you kinda thought might have been because you were, like, kinda detoxing.
Yes, so then I did eventually, like, stop, but we're still, like, actually, I remember that time because I don't whatever. We had sex in the shower, and I was, like, 6 days before I was set to ovulate. So I was like, "There's no way. We can't get pregnant." And then one of my clients, like, literally a month and a half later was like, "My period's, like I'm on, like, day 45 of my cycle." I'm like, "Well, have you taken a pregnancy test, you idiot? Like, are you fucking serious? You need to take a pregnancy test. Stop being dumb." And then I, like, go look at my app, and I was on, like, cycle day, like, 42, and I was like, "Uh-oh." And I, like, went and looked back, and I'm like, the one time around ovulation was, like, 6 days before. I was like, "There's no way." And then I take a pregnancy test, and I'm like, "Holy fuck." So I was, like, 6 weeks pregnant when I found out, which I'd also never experienced that before. So that, like, felt magical and different and cool and exciting.
So that was the chemical or that was the normal?
No, that was the one where I was, like, doing coffee enemas, parasite cleansing, cold plunging. I was, like, not in the state of, like, I'm trying to get pregnant right now, but it's very hard. Anyone on this journey knows to, like, take the steps to, like, intentionally not get pregnant. Like, I never really did that until I've never really done that, to be honest. So that was silly of me. I should have been a little more careful.
But it's, like, hard, like, especially 6 days out from ovulation and, like, obviously you never know, but it's not like what you had previously identified with, like, trying to conceive, you were probably not doing.
Yes, exactly. Just, like, riding the wave of life.
Wow, what a journey. And then you got pregnant with Jake when?
Chemical was January 2025, pregnant with Jake February 2025.
Oh, back right away again.
Yep.
So crazy.
But again, remember after our chemical, I was like, "You know what? Like, I'm just fucking done. Like, I need a break. I need to actually take a break. Like, I need to take my own advice, and this is stupid."
And Mr. Jakers is like, "I'm ready."
Yeah. And this delivery, you can listen to our birth story podcast. I won't go back into that, but my delivery with him was just, like, so amazing. My intuition was just so on fire. I did go to the hospital to get stitches, and they were really trying to, like, shame me and just be annoying, and I was like I just was, like, laughing at everything they would say, like, "You need this antibiotic, and you need this," and I was just like
See, it was full circle from you fake laughing with Ellie too.
Yeah. It was like, you're literally not gonna be able to tell me to do anything, and even if you think that you're being, like, mean and scary, I was like, I am what pure white light." It was so cool. But yeah, just experiencing this postpartum and, like, it's so funny because I see a lot of content about people struggling so much in the first year, and it's so relatable, and it's from struggling with feeding and, like, oral ties and sleep and hair loss and just everything. It's so normalized and it's almost applauded because it's so relatable. It's a great content strategy because so many moms feel that way. But I'm like, I literally have nothing to talk about with my postpartum this time because it's been so great. Mostly, I think it's because I set and told my village my expectations but I'm also being very intentional with my minerals and I have since in that time I started getting into the functional space. I don't wanna discredit and act like I wasn't doing anything behind the scenes for all of those years because it's what got me into functional health and made me become a functional practitioner was I was like, "I want these labs, I wanna be able to look at them. I wanna be able to understand what the doctors are looking at when they look at my tests and say, 'I need a medication,' or 'I need this for this.' I wanna know why." And so it really was just such a strong catalyst, and I remember we had Christy on, and she talked about her brother passing away and how traumatizing it was and how everyone's like, "Oh, I'm just so sorry." And her viewpoint of it is that they signed up for that together, and now she gets to share this message, and it would be like a discredit to him if she didn't, and I'm just working towards allowing myself because I know that's the reason, but it's still hard and scary to talk about and share because for whatever reason, people don't
I
wanna
think too,
know.
it feels like with all of these people sharing the relatable content that we're like moving in the right direction and you shouldn't be ashamed and motherhood is hard. And because I feel like for so many years with social media, everyone was just pretending, even though a lot of moms struggle. And again, that's common. And so it feels like we're leaning in the right direction, right? And we never want to mom shame or make anyone feel bad for their circumstances, but it's like there's so many things just in women's health in general, but pregnancy, postpartum that are so normalized. Like, wasn't it when you went in for the heart palpitations and they said, "Oh, that's just normal," and then you did one Google search and it's yeah. So you tell the story because I
So
love
when I was pregnant with Jake, I was like already so there's something called a wild pregnancy, or as I like to call it, pregnancy, where you don't go to any appointments, you don't get any blood work done, you don't get the fucking glucose test, you don't get an ultrasound, you don't go to the hospital to have your baby. You just are pregnant and then you have your baby and that's it. And I was like, "Oh, that sounds so nice." But I wasn't fully ready for that yet, and especially after having an ectopic, I was like, "I wanna know that this baby is in my uterus."
it. Yeah. So did your sister.
So did everyone else that I know. So I went and got my first ultrasound, and I was, like, going to my doctor's appointments, and already I'm just like, "They're so inconvenient. The waiting room is full of fucking sick people." You literally go in and they're like, "How are you feeling?" And you're like, "Good." And they're like, "Okay." And then you go home, and it's like, I have a fucking busy life. I don't need to be doing this. So that just already was annoying me. And then I started to have intense heart palpitations. And I was like, maybe I'll just ask. Maybe she can do some blood work on me and I can get some free blood work. So I asked her about it. She says, it's totally normal in pregnancy. There's nothing we can do. And I was just like, okay. So I went in. I actually have a huge resource of all my HTMA information that I've been like building over the years with all the courses that we've all done. We just put all our info into this gigantic resource. And I just type in heart palpitations. It's low potassium. I just had happened to do an HTMA test on myself 2 weeks before, and what do you know it? My potassium was non-existent, literally a less than, like, non-detectable, and I just started drinking coconut water every day, and they went away within a week, and I never went back to the doctor again.
But it's true, little things like that every single person on this planet wholeheartedly believes that is just, "Oh, it's just normal, there's nothing you can do." And it's just like, you should be questioning things, and yeah, I just think it's literally what women were, like, designed to do, and there's no way that it's supposed to be miserable from day 1 to 5 years postpartum. Like, it's just not. And so, that belief doesn't serve any of us either.
Yeah, we just have to, like, it's like a tricky place to be. It's like if I'm sharing, am I just shaming a lot of people? Because I don't ever wanna do that. But I'm also like, "You guys, like, this can be fucking awesome. This can be so good if we just have a fucking nettle tea every day. You'll be okay. Have some salt in your diet."
It's so true, and it's just, I think, hard, right? Because it's like, that's part of being a leader, though. It's just you have to be the first one. And it's like when it feels like we're going in the right direction, because not everyone is like sharing the absolute highlights of motherhood. It's like we can share that it's hard without normalizing it, that it's normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and, like, it's still so hard. It's not like I'm just like, "La, everything's great." Like,
Yeah, and I think even for those that didn't know or isn't aware and they didn't have everything been checked prior to getting pregnant or whatever, but so even if you are like physically struggling or whatever, it's even motivating or exciting to know that there is a possible like that you can get out of it or that there's that light at the end of the tunnel and you can get there faster too, is if you just prioritize yourself, which again is just so normalized in motherhoods that you have to put everyone before yourself. And you did such a good post on that today, actually. Yeah, I feel like we can still share that it's hard while also being like, drink some coconut water, you guys, and an LT every day.
put
And
some salt on your meals.
I really hope once I get pregnant that this is also my story. That I get to have a perfect pregnancy and perfect postpartum so that I can share how perfect it is.
It won't be perfect, but it will be amazing.
I'm hoping that I'm just going to be hopeful for them.
Yeah, I can't fucking wait. I cannot wait.
So, yeah, that's so crazy though. Wow.
So, anywho, I always like to say if you wonder why I get so annoyed with Western medicine and doctors, those are just three of the stories that I have in my own personal experience, and let alone the clients I worked with over the years. So,
I'll never forget too. I think we were on a podcast. I don't know if we were recording or not, but and you just like suddenly dropped that you were never going back to Western medicine again. And when she said that, I just thought she meant like till birth. And then slowly through the months, we learned that she meant no, like never. And even just as your sister, obviously seeing you go through everything, it just not that it's about me, but I was just like, oh my God, so anxious because you just don't want anything to go wrong. But my friend Vanessa had the best point ever. And she's pregnant with her first and she's having a home birth. And she's just all the horror stories that you hear are always in hospitals. She's like, I don't think I've ever heard a horror story of it. And obviously they do happen and things can go wrong and there's risks and all of that. But yeah, there's also a lot of shit that goes wrong when you're under doctor's care. And it's not, yes, shitty things happen, but it doesn't necessarily mean there's less of a chance happening versus more.
I could tell a lot of my friends and family. That's what they say is if you're going to have a home birth, just don't tell your friends and family because they're going to be the ones that talk you out of it. But I was like, I'm a sharer. So I was telling everybody, and I would just say, women have been giving birth for longer than anyone has done anything in the entire history of the world. As soon as I like get that thought in my head, I'm like, I am not worried at all. And by that point too, in my journey, intuition had become such a important piece of my story and my work with myself. So my intuition was like so fucking strong, and I could tell I was able to differentiate anxiety and intuition at this point in my life. Yay, me. And yeah, I just didn't have any anxiety about it at all, which is crazy until I thought I maybe had a breech baby. But even then, I was like, I guess I'm just pushing out a breech baby at home. Whatever.
Yeah, which is like a funny part of this. Not, it was funny, but now looking back, it was funny. But like probably a month out is when you maybe first had your like little tiny bits of doubt of, oh my
Well,
gosh,
that's
it's gonna.
anxiety, though. That's what I mean. It's like when it's so loud and it's out of nowhere and it doesn't really make sense. It's like that was anxiety. And it like, I obsessed over it and I should have known that I'm like, this isn't real. I have no idea what position this baby's in.
So Kira did absolutely everything you possibly could to make sure that your baby is in the right spot when Mr. Jakers was already in the right spot. So then he was pretty much shot out of there fast as possible. And you think it's because of that, right?
I think it's like everything, but yeah, that definitely is like part of it. But my doula said he was just like, I was basically like ramming his head into my cervix for 4 weeks, just like grinding it in. And my cervix was just probably,
Crazy. If you could go back and tell yourself, let's go 5 years ago, 2020, one piece of advice, what would you say?
I honestly, I love that question always, but I honestly think more than advice, I just needed like a little bit of a hug maybe because like I did everything that I needed to do and it like literally gave me the coolest life that I never thought that I could have. So I'm like, I don't know, I wouldn't want to mess with it, to be honest. It's going to be okay. It's all going to be okay. It's all going to be.
And fuck Western medicine. Just kidding.
What do you mean? What's going to happen? Why are you saying it like that? Scare the shit out of her. But yeah, at the end of the day, I do think I want another baby. So that's crazy to say after telling all those stories. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, now I'm just a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. And
now you know why.
Now you know why. Does that kind of sum up my story? I don't even know. We didn't even get into like my plant medicine journeys. I did a lot in between in those years.
And I would say I had like major spiritual awakening journey. Yeah, we definitely summarized from going through the multiple miscarriages and ectopic to when Mr. Jakers was born. But I feel like those were good. And I think those are like powerful stories, which you've never really told in detail. And so I think people will get out of that and we can. Actually, I think it was the very first episode or maybe the second episode we recorded as the wellness effect where Kira shared about her plant medicine because you were just coming off of it, that one. So that was at the start of 2025. So like right before you got pregnant, or maybe you already knew you were pregnant at that point, but you wouldn't have done it if you were pregnant.
No, because I did it in like August and I didn't get pregnant until February.
Oh, so we really waited. I guess we didn't have the podcast started yet though.
Yeah, I don't remember what was going on.
She found out she was pregnant at my wedding.
Yeah, I didn't bring a pregnancy test because I was like, we're not trying. I'm not ruining another wedding with a negative pregnancy test. It's Lacey's wedding. I just want to have fun. And then my period didn't come and my boobs were huge. And I was like, oh my God.
Shit.
Like in a room with Jensen, I'm like, I think I might be pregnant. She's what? So crazy.
Crazy.
But yeah, we might have to do a part 2. I guess.
I got time.
Okay, I think we should wrap it up there today, but thank you guys so much for listening. And if you ever have any questions or just want to chat about my journey, I'm really open to it. I know it's scary to go through pregnancy loss and infertility or whatever it is, but I'm just an open book and I don't post about it a lot. I don't know why. I don't know. There's lots of reasons why. I do know why. But whenever I do, a lot of people end up reaching out to me and just saying, relating, whatever. So just know that I'm always open book for that kind of stuff if you guys want to talk about it. And also just know that Lacey's program 10 years ago changed my life.
And now our program will change yours because we've learned a lot through the seasons and all of us have stories. Like Kira's is kind of want to say next level, but it's like there's a reason that we're all here and we didn't just stumble into functional health. It's like we're all here because it literally, we needed it and it changed everything for us. And yeah, so we're not just crazy. Okay. Okay, team, thanks for hanging out. As always, subscribe, you know the drill, and we will talk to you next week. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to The Wellness Effect. We're so grateful to be part of your wellness journey. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and follow us on Instagram for more tips, laughs, and real talk. We'll put all of our handles in the show notes. If you have questions or ideas for future episodes, slide into our DMs or send us an email. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep creating your own wellness effect.